I know this sounds crazy, but I'm building a pond for public enemy number one for these guys. There are two main predators in North America that will eradicate koi. Number one is the great blue heron. They're usually found during the summer months, but the second one is the North American mink, and they love hunting in the winter time. I'm building a pond for the Mink Man. We're gonna train his mink, and what they normally do during the winter months, they'll find an open area of water. They dip down under the ice, and they can swim around, and they're gonna find those big fat koi laying around because they're in a state of torpor. They're not even swimming or moving. They can grab your fish. Spring comes around, and all your fish are gone. And it could happen because of the mink. Compilation vlog with the Mink Man.
My name's Joseph Carter, and I am the Mink Man.
I've been an animal lover my entire life. I grew up training cattle dogs and cow horses with my grandfather, and I was an avid falconer in my teens and early 20s. When I was a senior in high school, I started learning about the American mink. I was told that mink were horrible, vicious little animals who were impossible to tame. Challenge accepted. I've been in love with mink ever since, and have devoted the last 14 years of my life to learning about this marvelous little predator. I get mink from fur farms and give them a new life. In this new life, my mink live as naturally as possible, even hunting for their dinner the way a wild mink would.
So come join me on my adventures as we learn more about this intense little predator, the amazing American mink.
It is known as a riparian animal. It's found along river corridors, along the perimeters of lakes, rivers, and streams. A very good hunter, an incredible predator. It makes its way in and out of the water, looking for frogs, crayfish, muskrats, fish, turtles, frogs, you name it, anything that lives along that area. So those riparian habitats are extremely diverse. There's a ton of life, and these animals have adapted to become really incredible predators in that environment. So Joseph sent me some pictures of his backyard. He has an existing fence. He's got a little bit of a shed located over in here, and he's going to be adding in another fence on this side. And then he also has some existing concrete edging over in here. So he's looking for the water feature in this zone. This entire area from one end to the other is about 40 feet long. So what I want to do is come up with a water feature design that kind of mimics some of the natural riparian corridors where mink would be found. But I also want to make something that is going to help Joseph train his animals. He has a mixture of babies all the way through adults, and each one of them are going to get comfortable in water in different ways. So I'm going to have some shallow water zones up in these little pooling areas here, as well as our intake bay. I ended up going with something like that versus a traditional skimmer because the intake bay is more animal proof. So usually when I'm working with zoos, people that are going to be keeping turtles and different types of live animals inside of the pond, we want to go with an intake bay. This is a little bit more naturalistic, but what it does is it creates a really good barrier between the water and the pump and everything. So there's a whole grid system. So I have aqua blocks and stuff like that down in here. I have my pump vault. With the aqua blocks, I'm going to have our actual block over in here, and then the pump is actually going to sit all the way down here at the very, very lowest location. This is made up with what we call a matrix design. The water has to flow down through the blocks to get over to the pump. On top of the blocks is going to be some river stone. So that's going to create a really good barrier for any type of animal life from getting to the pump. And mink are very, very smart animals. They're going to be exploring. So I want to make sure it's really, really difficult for them to get to that mechanical system. So from here, the water is going to get pumped up to our biofalls. I'm going to go with an oversized biofalls, and that's because of the potential waste products that are going to be generated by the mink. Going to have a series of little waterfalls and stuff like that cascading down through here. And then I want to have a series of little pools in here. What Joseph is thinking right now, 12 inches to 18 inches maximum, which should not be a problem. This entire feature probably 25 feet long. This waterfall will be visible from the main house, which will be beautiful, but the main focus for this particular project is going to be the mink. All right, everybody, I am with Joseph Carter. He is the Mink Man. He's got an unbelievable facility here. Could you give us a little background about yourself and what you do with these incredible animals?
I raise mink for hunting and fishing, and also do some pest control. Sometimes people have problems with like a muskrat in like a city park destroying the banks. Yeah, right there's a canal. Tons of water flows down it every year, and if the wrong hole is placed in the wrong place, we're talking millions and millions of dollars of damage at a minimum. Very serious concerns for them, and so they pay me to go out and control the muskrats. Okay, so this little guy, his name is Boone. He's about 9 weeks old. These guys are a natural predator to the muskrats.
Yep.
These little guys, they squeeze right down in the holes and they'll go after the muskrats. When we're hunting like brown rats, so sometimes we'll get an infestation of brown rats like on a farm and there's like hundreds of rats, we'll pull out half a dozen mink.
Wow.
Because there's just rats flying everywhere. The mink go in, they'll catch everything they can, but having another mink there while they're killing one rat, the next one can come in and kill the next.
Wow.
And I'll also do it recreationally, so I'll go out and catch fish or frogs or other things that aren't necessarily causing a problem. It's just fun.
So we're here to build this water feature for you. I sent you a drawing initially. How are you gonna end up using this?
So when they're little, they're actually pretty nervous about water because it's a survival tactic. So we want to get them out and get them exposed. The problem is now I've got a full breeding program. Training 26 babies to get over that fear of water, getting comfortable around water, it just doesn't happen.
Got it.
So they get super comfortable with kiddie pools and fish tanks.
Yep.
And you get them out in the real world and they're like, what is this? This is nothing like what we have at home. So it helps me to be able to train, you know, 20, 30 mink at once.
Okay.
But it also benefits the mink greatly because while they're growing and developing, they've got active minds, very, very hyper and high energy. It gives them a mental and a physical outlet. This gives them a great enrichment where they can burn off that energy, swimming and looking for fish. So this will help them physically, mentally, and then training from a training standpoint all in one. And anyone who's been watching this little guy, he's 9 weeks old and he is super slow, super awkward, and super low energy. So you guys were probably thinking, man, that's a busy little thing. Give this thing 3 weeks and he will be driving you up the wall. He'll be wishing for how placid he is now. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
No,
People see cute animals and think, oh, that'd be a cool pet.
I agree.
This is the placid, calm version. Give him in 3 weeks and this would be the most difficult interview you've ever done.
We are looking forward to the build. We have our team together. So I'm gonna walk out in front. We're gonna get things going. We're gonna start excavation.
All righty, let's go.
Right, let's do it. We got the first section excavated out. We have our intake bay on the far end. That is to act as a skimmer system to collect debris. Everything else is going to be pretty standardized, but we are modifying some of our construction practices because of the particular type of animal. So what I love about this is we're doing a series of pools. And this is going to be that deep section. This is going to be up to 24 inches deep. We're going to have a pool up in here, which is going to be approximately 12 inches deep. Pool up there is going to be 6 inches deep. So we'll have different zones for different ages of the animals. Ralph is checking our elevations right now to see what our depth is at. So I'm going to remark this section. Then we'll start the excavation over here, continue working our way up to the top, and then hopefully all the pond products show up here soon. So Mark and I are going to run over to a local pipe supply place to pick up some more materials. We're going to create that interactive system for the mink, which is going to be really, really cool. It's going to make all the difference in the world on this particular project. As soon as our liner gets here and all the other components, we'll be able to start putting everything together. So we're trying to keep everything productive as much as we can throughout the day. I love the progress we've made. We got our retaining wall in, excavation is done, elevations are set. We're ready for the next step. All right,
Okay.
Ralph, what are you up to over here?
Doing a little custom plumbing because we're going to have a series of tunnels going through the rock work for the mink to train, and apparently some of the critters that get in there, they'll leave some dead fish and things like that. So we want a way to flush that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this T in there and we'll be able to divert pressure into that tunnel system and blow that out so it doesn't become stagnant in there. After that, we're going to continue with our plumbing through the liner. So that will happen with a bulkhead fitting. Then we'll just run this flex 2-inch line over to our biofalls and be flowing.
So we are working on a little interactive system for the mink. It's like I was saying earlier, they are normally found in riparian habitats. So there's all types of pockets and holes and boulders and all that type of stuff. And inside and in between all those things, there's typically going to be animals. Crayfish, there's going to be frogs. The mink are going to want to search those things out because that's what they feed off of naturally. So talking with Joseph, we came up with this idea to create this little tunnel system that's going to be behind our boulders. So we have 4-inch pipe. This is going to have openings coming out in between the boulders. Actually, my favorite part is going to be this section up here. We're going to replicate a muskrat den. One of our faux stumps located up here on the top, that's going to actually be the den. We're going to bring this piping system up. We're going to 90 it over into that little den. We're going to have a little shutoff valve in between. So what Joseph can do for training, he could open or close that valve when he wants to train the mink to go inside of this to search out and look for some of the different food. The project update, we are installing our large boulders now down on the very bottom. We're also disguising piping system that we're putting in all the way along the bottom of the pond over here. We are starting to wash everything down. We still have a lot of work obviously to do over here in the intake bay as well as the waterfall, but we want to try to get everything happening down here in the bottom because we want to try to clean it up as much as we can. Normally doing lots of plant pockets and things like that, building in some big soil areas for different types of plantings, but in this particular application we're not going to be doing that, and that's because the mink are going to be roaming through this entire area. We don't want any soil because what they do is they're going to go swimming, they're going to get out of the water, they're going to roll around in the dirt, and they're going to go back in the pond. So they'll just make a mess of everything. Just do a lot of river stone over everything and crushed rock. Next step right now, working on this little muskrat den, which is a really cool little component. Joseph ran out, got a bucket. It's got a nice screw top. This is going to be buried in. You see this hole right here. It's going to go over that pipe. Typically have multiple entry points. So we have a couple down tucked in between all those boulders. The mink will be able to swim up through all of this, find this little den area. Now, we don't like the look of any of this stuff. If you follow us, we like to make things that look pretty. So we make some incredible filter systems, but I don't want to see them. I just want them to function properly. We have a fake faux stump log that's going to cover everything up. That's going to allow Joseph total access to everything. Everything's really coming together. Loving the way everything is looking here. So we're going to offload what we need, finish working around the perimeter, and work our way to the top. What do you think, Olive?
This might be good.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, this is the moment we've been waiting for. What we built this for is actually the mink, as well as for Olive, their daughters. Creating an interactive feature for the animals, for the children, for the entire family to work with. Water is amazing. Water is the source of all life. Everything comes to those perimeters of our lakes, rivers, and streams. And that's why these guys have adapted exactly for that situation. Looking for frogs, small fish, crayfish, snakes, rodents, you name it, they have adapted perfectly to it. And that's exactly what this is all about. So I love the way everything turned out here. Did transition between the boulders, the big river rock, back over into the crushed material. This is going to create a barrier, so they're not going to dig burrows. So this is going to be a really nice, safe enclosure for them. We've also taken our time. If you look around at the perimeter, all those rocks, you're not going to see any cracks or crevices or large cavities because we wanted to keep the mink from kind of working their way behind some of those boulders. They make their den above water line, but they have underwater entry points. So we have a couple underwater entry points in 2 different locations. The mink will be able to go in there and he'll be able to put some bait and stuff like that inside of that little enclosure, that little den area, for them to work their way and actually find it and seek it out. I also love the way that our waterfall turned out. I mean, check it all out. The biofalls is really nicely hidden. We We utilize a bunch of logs that they went and found. And that's exactly what's going to be found in the river systems around here. You get down trees, you're going to get logs and stuff like that end up getting washed into the rivers. They kind of get wedged in between stuff, and that's exactly how we tried to create this stuff. So the other nice thing about using a wood element inside of here, different strains of bacteria are going to be found on wood versus on rock versus sand versus soil. And when we talk about an ecosystem pond, having a diversity of materials is actually very, very beneficial. And that's exactly what we set up there. All right,
Hey.
Joseph is getting ready to turn it on. Olive, do you want to help? Oh, look at that. Just exactly the way we designed it. Water's flowing over that log and it's going to split around that rock. I love the sound so far. All right, Joseph, what are you thinking?
Pretty
Is
cool.
it going to fulfill your needs?
Oh, yes. With having all these different water levels, we could take a mink bin, for example, right here, we could drop this down, like you're saying, to wading level. So the mink could wade in this, put a couple little fish in here, and the baby mink can practice at very, very basic levels, catching stuff. And then once he feels confident enough, he'll, on his own, eventually start venturing into the deep water. And then the cool thing is with these tools, so we can essentially have 3 different training levels. We've got that level is the super basic level. Up here will be the medium level, but it's still a lot easier than this will be the pro level, where they'll be diving all the way down and searching the bottom for fish.
And going through the tunnels.
We've got the cool little tunnel systems, we got the logs and the places that they've got to search out and find the fish. So I mean, so much better than the artificial things we've been doing for years, where we've got fish tank or a cattle trough, and it's just not natural at all. This will make it so that when we take them into a realistic situation, they're like, oh yeah, that's a lot like home. You get them out in a pond that they're not accustomed to it, they don't know where to look. Their instincts help them a lot, to be honest. The instincts say, hey, look in crevices, look here, but there is an experience factor as well, that this will be great because they'll have both the instincts and the experience working for them. If I need to reach in here,
It's working perfect.
and check out what's going on, you go this way, we've got the actual muskrat den. Right now it's filled with gravel and there's no bottom to the bucket. So any water that's gonna be coming in here on a regular basis from the mink in their fur is gonna be able to just seep out. And so we've got lots of options there for drainage and putting bedding on top of it. If I don't want them to access this for whatever reason, but I'm gonna get a little post and we'll just put it down there as a stopper, and they can still swim through and utilize hype just for exploration and fun and chasing fish, but they won't have access to this little artificial muskrat dam if I don't want them to. Which really, having options and having control with animals, especially mink, is key.
And this is strong enough. You don't have to worry about that. That'll take a beating. Yep.
Oh, good boy, look at you, Mr. Confident.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh.
Look at you, Mr. Confident.
You get up the rocks?
Look at you, Mr. Confident, just swimming.